Hey there folks, John here with Through My Lens, and today I'm coming to you with a story time video. I got this XM-18 in this morning from DLT Training. They sent me a replacement. I did the unboxing on this yesterday, and when I did the unboxing, it was not what I was expecting. I had ordered an XM-18 with red handle scales, like this, and a stone-washed finish on the blade and on the backside. What I was sent was a working finish knife that had a blue-black scale. So after I did the unboxing video, I called up DLT Trading. We got that all straightened out. They overnighted a replacement. Thanks so much for fixing the problem. Really appreciate it, DLT Trading. So again, I just got this, decided that I wanted to go ahead and change the scale out. I will probably use this red scale a little later on, but I am going to put the accessory blue-black scale that I purchased on the knife for the time being. And I wanted to flip the pocket clip around into a tip down, or excuse me, a tip up configuration from the tip down. And I thought as long as I was doing that, I would go ahead and clean the knife blade, use this this stuff for the first time, this ECI rust inhibitor product. So I put that on the blade, used some good old KPL knife pivot lube, my favorite knife lubricant right now. And yeah, and just got all that done. I thought, and as I got the knife disassembled, I thought I would go ahead and address one of the things that I talked about in the video yesterday, and that there is some bad blood between myself and Hinderer. And some people may see me buying an XM-18. It's been 8 years since I've had one. They may see it as being some hypocrisy on my part. So I wanted to try to get ahead of that and just address that up front. And I've got this new little knife workstation here that I got from Kerr Knife and Tools. Got one of their nice titanium bit drivers here. Really happy with that. And I thought I would go ahead and do one of these top-down type of videos like this. I've never done this type of thing, but I did buy this to do some videos like that for when I do reviews in the future. So yeah, just thought this would be a good time to do that story time and address kind of the elephant in the room. So I did an article about 8 years ago, and I'll go ahead and throw up a screenshot of that article that's on Through My Lens. There will be a link in the description box. But I did an article 8 years ago on why I sold all my Hinderer knives. And there were 3 reasons as to why I did that. The first reason, probably the third of the reason, was the engagement that I had had at that point with representatives of Rick Hinderer's knives, specifically with Rob Orlando and Rick Hinderer himself. These were not pleasant experiences. I'm not going to go into a lot of that drama. It's kind of detailed pretty well in the article, so you can go take a look at that. Again, and the link is in the description box to the article. But that was a real negative for me, and that was one of the reasons why I decided to sell all my knives. Another big reason were the market conditions at that time. Back in 2012, market demand for these knives far outstripped supply. It was impossible to find XM-18s at dealers. If you wanted one, you had to go out into the secondary market and pay 2 and 3 times what the retail price was, and that's just not a healthy thing. That's not a fun thing for someone who is an enthusiast to try to have to go through. You couldn't find handle scales, you couldn't find accessories. It was just very, very frustrating. Again, I had only been into Hinderer knives for about 6 months at that point, but that really was a turnoff. and another big reason why I decided to go in a different direction. Probably the other third big reason why I decided to make a change was the fact that ZT, Zero Tolerance, had come out with the Hinderer designed 0562CF. That knife had what many consider to be a superior blade steel, an M390. It had the steel lock bar inserts. I think ZT was the first company to start incorporating that particular innovation into their knives to mitigate lock stick, and it had a much better flipping action. The detent was much different, much stiffer than what Hinderer put on his knives at the time. Hinderer had been criticized by more than just me about that flipping action, and his answer was always, hey, we've designed this knife to be deployed not only from the flipper tab, but also from the thumb studs. And if you have a real stiff detent, that makes it difficult to deploy the knife from the thumb studs, which is true. But if you primarily bought the knife as a flipper, relative to other choices in the marketplace, you were probably going to be disappointed by the flipper action. So those three things together, really motivated me to say, enough is enough, I'm getting out. Well, that was 2012, that was 8 years ago. Times have changed. The market is very different now. When I decided that I wanted to get an XM-18, one of these new Gen 6s, every dealer that I went to had several to choose from. It was not a problem to get the version that you wanted, in the blade steel that you wanted. It was a pretty pleasant experience to actually make the purchase, again, relative to what I've experienced in the past. So that was certainly a welcome difference. I bought some accessories too. I've ordered some spacers. I've got those coming. I bought, again, the accessory G10 handle scale. All of them were relatively simple to source. Not every dealer had everything that I wanted in stock, but others did. So again, I was able to pretty easily find everything that I wanted to make this knife my own, which is a big reason why you buy the XM-18, right? To go Barbie crazy and order all the components and bits that you want to make the knife your own. So that was a big difference. Let's see here. Very nice. Very nice. And, in terms of the stuff that happened with Rick Hinderer in the past is the past. I'm a Christian. Forgiveness is a big part of my lifestyle. So I hold no ill will against Rick Hinderer or Rob Orlando. I don't think Rob works for Rick Hinderer anymore. I don't know if he quit or was fired, but I don't believe he's there anymore. I think he works for some other kind of tactical sort of supply company thing. I think. I don't know. But gosh, what do I do with that other screwdriver? There it is. So, at this point, I'm willing to let bygones be bygones. Rick Hinderer probably hasn't given me a second thought since 2012. So, if I run into him again, which is somewhat probable, I'll probably make it out again to Tactical Defense Institute, where I first met him. He's He goes there for classes. I think he's even one of the assistant instructors there on some courses. And so it's possible I could run into him there. It's possible that I could run into him at Blade Show. I'm thinking about going to Blade Show again. So it's possible that I'll run into him. He may not even recognize me, or I don't think he's given me a second thought. So it's not that big of a deal. You don't really engage with the representatives of the company that often, hopefully, when you buy a knife. Your user owner experience is largely just about the knife itself. I like that. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, bygones, the past is the past. I'm buying the knife for the knife itself because they have made a lot of changes. It flips great now. They use 20 CV. They use a lock bar insert. So it's really, in the years since I've owned them, caught up a lot to its competitors in the marketplace. And it does offer some things that other knives on the marketplace just don't offer in the way of being able to make it your own knife. So, not to mention the fact that I've, in my past videos where I've talked about the XM-18, I've always said it's a great knife. I've never said anything bad about the knife. Again, some of the things like the detent or the blade steel, maybe they weren't quite as good as other options in the marketplace, but it wasn't a bad knife per se. So I've never thought, this knife sucks, nobody should buy it because it's a bad knife. I've never said that. I've just always, since 2012, I've kind of said, I'm going to spend this much money. I'll probably do it with other brands that know how to treat their customers a little bit better. The things that I did that led up to that unfortunate situation with Rick, was I right? Was he wrong? Maybe I shouldn't have wrote what I wrote. I don't think I necessarily said anything bad. Could I see where he was probably irritated about it? Yeah, I could see that. Should I have written it? Maybe not. Maybe I am some percentage of at fault here. I will still maintain that that could have been handled a little differently. And would it have been me, I probably at some point would have reached out and tried to make that situation better. That's not how Rick's chosen to handle it. I'm not going to hold my breath and wait for an apology, but I would like to believe that, looking back on that situation, Rick probably wishes he could have handled it a little differently. But even if that's not the case, no big deal. I'm buying the knife. I'm not buying Rick. Some people in the knife industry and in the gun industry, for that matter, I found they're very good technicians. They're very good at what they do, but public relations isn't their forte. We'll say that. Some people who are in these industries really shouldn't be the front-facing part of the company. They should stay in the back and working on the knives, which is what their primary talent is. Not necessarily saying that Rick's in that situation. It's just I have run into people like that who I have expectations from my experience in businesses of how I want to be treated as a customer and how I treat people in the businesses that I'm involved in, and that's not always been my experience, and maybe that's unrealistic expectations on my part. Okay, well, I've got my knife back together. Very happy. I really like the look of that blue-black handle scale. Tomorrow I'll probably be getting the back spacers in that I'm going to be putting on this. So once I've done that and once I've got everything together, I will probably be doing the review on this XM-18. Well, I hope you enjoyed this story time. Let me know down in the comments. Give me a like. Certainly subscribe if you aren't, and let me know in the comments what you think about this format and the story time kind of thing, and maybe I'll do more in the future. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Take care. God bless. We'll see you in the next one. I hope you've enjoyed this production from the Through My Lens YouTube channel. If you did, please click on the like button and do share the video on social media. If you'd like to see more content like it, please do subscribe to the channel, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and do check out Through My Lens at www.throughmylens.org.